Hello everyone, I'm back with another video. People have always requested a tutorial on my Instagram for my recent way of doing makeup. So here it is. And doesn't matter if it's a day or night, this look falls under every category. So if you want to know how I achieve this look, just keep on watching. I've already prepped my skin with a moisturizer and a primer, so I'll start with the foundation. I always apply two types of foundation on my skin. So firstly I'm applying MAC in the shade NC25 with my damp beauty blender. I know this shade is a bit lighter than my skin tone, but my skin is more towards the dry side. So for a nice dewy and moisturized face, I'm applying this foundation. It have a light to medium coverage and feels so weightless on my skin. So I'm gonna cover the areas where I find my skin dry so it doesn't feel patchy or cracked up and stays for a longer time. For the second foundation, I'm applying a foundation from the Body Shop in the shade Molecule Nutmeg with my same damp beauty blender. This foundation is more of a yellow tone and I love the tone it gives with MAC on my skin, and it is medium to high coverage, so it gives my skin a flawless and even look. Also, this foundation is more towards the matte side, so it gives a perfect combo with MAC for personally my skin, I would say. And this combo stays for more than 14 hours, which is insane. I apply this foundation almost every corner of my face, especially the corner of nose and chin area, because after some time these areas get patchy, but if you apply your base with a damp beauty blender, it stays for a longer time. So for concealer, I'm using a mixture of Kryolan Derma in two shades, D65 and D2W, because these concealer have high coverage and they are super creamy, which blends well and cover all the flaws. For the application, I always use my finger because it warms up your products and helps them to blend well on your skin. And these concealer covers every flaws on your skin, but I like highlighting some areas on my face to be looked as even as possible. So I apply this concealer around my mouth area because it might look ashy if you don't even out your face with concealer properly. Also, I apply this concealer on my eyelids because it can be worked as an eyeshadow base or can look bright, so the colors you apply there looks pop out. And lastly, applying the concealer on the middle of my forehead to make it look highlighted as well. Now I'm just taking my damp beauty blender and dabbing all over the areas where I applied my concealer, because doesn't matter whichever the applicator you use, it will leave a slight prints on your face. So this beauty blender will help you out in evening out the entire base. It will blend all the products together, also gonna help you to remove excessive products on the same time. Isn't it cool? I blend my eyelids on the last because that's the area which creases the fast. So I blend it and without a blink I set it up with the powder. So for setting my entire face, I'm applying two-way cake base from Maybelline Satin in the shade B2 Soft Honey. It might look really pale, but to be honest, it takes a bit time to get settled on your face, and trust me, the after results are so flattering, you will see. So I'm just applying this on the areas where I applied concealer because it's so important to apply powder to creamy areas. It might look good at start, but as soon time passes, it will get cakey. So always apply any type of powder to the areas where you have applied concealers. So I'm just quickly applying under my eyes, around my mouth, my forehead and the bridge of my nose. After getting done with all the nudes for base, now it's time to add some hues on your face. So for contouring, I'm using bronzer from Sugar in the shade Woody Wonder. It's just such a pretty warm brown color that perfectly fits my tone. So for application, I'm using PAC Master Stroke brush number 4. Firstly, I just pack the color under the hollows of my cheekbones and blend it well with the same brush. Then I applied the bronzer on my jawline to enhance the face structure. I'm just going in a slanted direction more towards the upper side to lift my face, as my face is oval. So I'll just apply some on my chin bone and just gonna dust whatever is left on the brush towards the sidelines of the nose and also the tip. Now it's time for applying blush. So for blush, I'm taking a mixture of 2-3 shades together from my Revolution Ultra HD palette. And for applicator, I'm using again the PSC Master Stroke brush number 7. So my technique for applying blush is to always smile. Doesn't matter if it's fake or real. You just need to smile because it will give you a good guideline and also gonna blend well on your face. Then I quickly adds up the blush on the chin and the tip of the nose. It just blends your contour as well. Now switching on to the highlighter, I am again applying the 2-3 warm shades from my Revolution SoFix palette, and for application I am using a fan brush from PSC again. I always apply highlighter on the higher points of my face like my cheekbones, my chin, the bridge of the nose and the tip definitely. Then I just quickly take my damp beauty blender and just dab it without any product on it between my blush and the highlighter just to make sure everything is nice and blended. Now coming on to my most favorite part about makeup, the eyebrows. Grooming eyebrow can be very tricky, it's just about precision. So I start with brushing my brows with a spoolie. This spoolie is again from PSC. I'm just gonna brush it through so the hairs of my brows are defined. Then I'm gonna take an angular brush, it's from PSC again. I'm just gonna dip in an ebony shade which is closer to my hair color and just gonna trace the downline of my brows. I think using a brow product specially is not necessary. Any powder product will do wonders if you apply it correctly. Then I'm gonna trace the above line going through the natural shape of my brows. I personally love high arch brows because your brows makes you look glamorous. Then I'm just gonna fill in the gaps wherever there is a sparse between my brows. Then again grabbing my spoolie and brushing to make sure my brows are blended and not any harsh lines are visible. Now this is the most precise part which few people forgets to do, is to conceal your brows. So now I'm just gonna take the concealer with an eyeshadow applicator brush number 18 from PAC Master Stroke and just gonna trace and clean the lines and the edges of my brows to make sure it looks very much precise, and then gonna blend with the same brush. I always make sure my edges look nice and clean because the more clean it looks, the more detail your face will have. After making sure my brows are looking precise, I'll just take a big applicator brush and dip it into the powder to apply it all over the concealed areas just to make sure the product has been set nicely around my brows. Now moving on to the eye makeup, I am grabbing the similar shades I applied for blush on the big blending brush. I forgot the brand of this brush, but you can take any. This one just fits around my eye area, so I'm just gonna move my hand very lightly and with less pressure on this brush and just keep on blending the shade on my crease back and forth. Now with the same brush and the same shade, I'm gonna apply it on my lower line back and forth again and just gonna join the outer and the upper side of the eyeshadow I applied before. Then I'll take in another blending brush number 17 from PAC. This brush particularly is more tapered and precise to get a nice and blended line for the crease. So I'll just gonna grab a brown eyeshadow. You can even use your contour to blend it with first transition shade. By using the benefit of its tapered edge, I'm gonna take some black eyeshadow for the outer angle of my eyes and gonna stretch it back and forth towards the edge of my brows. It will also gonna give me a guideline for the application of eyeliner afterwards. So black is a color which doesn't stand out in a single stroke. You always have to build up the color and get the actual black out. So I'm just building up the color over and over. Also gonna use the blending brush in the middle to blend out the black and the transition shades together. Now it's time to make the black look more precise. So I'll take an angular brush, dip it in a black eyeshadow and trace a good line from the end of my eyes towards the edge of my brows, just to keep on building it. I always make sure with my blending brush that there is no harsh lines between the black and the transition shades, so I just keep on rubbing the brush. Now again I'm checking for the last time that everything is super blended and it looks nice and there is no harsh line with the big blending brush. Now it's time to clean the edges of the eyeshadow just to make sure everything looks very much precise and there is no extra fallouts of the eyeshadow. I'm just very much obsessed with the blending. I always make sure my edges look clean and well blended, so I just keep on rubbing the blending brush towards the eyeshadows. After the outer side, I'll apply any nude shade on my socket to open my eyes from the start, and gonna pack that nude shade with an applicator brush all over my socket. Now again it's just me checking out if my lower lash line is completely blended or not. So after everything is nice and blended, I'll take the small detailing brush, just gonna dip it in my highlighter and just gonna pop out my tear duct known as inner corner, and also gonna apply some highlighter on my brow bone with the same brush. Now coming towards the last part that falls under the eye makeup category, which is mascara. So for mascara, I'm using the fiber extension mascara from the Body Shop. It's just so voluminous and thick, it actually gives you a false lash effects, but everything comes to conclusion when the technique is right. So the technique I use is I just fit the wand towards the start of my lashes and go light handed while coming out. Also you can just wiggle a bit. I work more towards the outer side. Same thing I do with my lower lash line, just wiggle and come out very light handedly. Now coming on to the lips, I'm applying a nude shade from Maybelline Creamy Mattes. Girls always ask me the shade I apply on a daily basis, so here it is. It's Nude Nuance 657 from Maybelline. I am just directly applying it while following the actual shape of my lips. After the lipstick application, I slightly overline my lip because it gives me a fuller look. As my lips are mediums in size, I go a little bit over the top of the actual line and make it look more plump. So this lip liner is from Wet n Wild in the shade Fab Fuchsia. Just for the last minute precision, I apply a little bit of powder under my contour and both edges of my eyes just to make sure my face looks lifted. Then I just dust all the excess from my powder brush number 1 from PSC again. So the final last thing I do is to use a face mist that works as a setting spray. This is a Dewy Rose face mist from the Body Shop. Again, I'll just spray this all over my face and just gonna fan out. So here's the final look I did and prefer to do everywhere I go. I hope you all like it. I'll try to be regular with these videos. Just don't forget to follow me on Instagram and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Bye bye.